All right, so we're diving deep into Nanjing, China today. You sent us some stuff from FlightNHotels.com, and there's this awesome article about must-sees in Nanjing. I gotta tell you, one thing from each already has me hooked.
Oh, okay, lay it on me.
First Flight and Hotels. Their tagline is, Wings of Happiness.
Seriously?
Yeah, a little cheesy, right? But hey, if it means cheaper flights, I am so there. And from the article, okay, get this. Nanjing has a city wall that you can walk on for 33 kilometers.
Oh, that's like a marathon.
More than a marathon. You could spend a whole day just exploring this ancient structure.
Nanjing's an amazing choice. It's one of those places where you can explore ancient dynasties. You can wander through beautiful nature, and then boom, you're in the middle of a bustling modern city. It's got it all.
I'm already sold. So the Flight and Hotels website seems pretty easy to use. You can compare flight and hotel prices from different places all at once, and they say they have some really good deals.
Which is key for a trip like this. The less time and money you spend on booking, the more you have to actually enjoy Nanjing.
True, very true. Okay, let's talk history. This article talks about this incredible bridge, the Nanjing Yangtze River Bridge. It was the very first bridge built over the Yangtze River.
Wow.
Like one of the longest rivers in the world. We're not just talking about a bridge here. This was a symbol of modern China.
Absolutely. It was a huge deal. For a long time, the Yangtze River was like a barrier. It divided North and South China. Mm-hmm. And this bridge, completed in 1968, was a huge step forward for China, connecting those regions and making transportation and trade much easier.
So not just a cool bridge, but like a major turning point.
Yeah.
Okay, then there's the Sun Yat-sen Mausoleum. This is where Sun Yat-sen is buried, known as the father of modern China. I bet this place is pretty impressive.
More than impressive. Even the design of the mausoleum is symbolic. You've got this blend of traditional Chinese architecture and modern influences, representing Sun Yat-sen's vision for a new China, a new China that was still connected to its past. And the location is meaningful, too. It's on the slopes of Purple Mountain. It kind of shows Sun Yat-sen's love for nature and his belief in progress, looking ahead to the future.
Wow. So much symbolism packed into one place. I'm already taking notes. And of course, we got to talk about that epic city wall. 33 kilometers of walkable park steeped in history.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Did people actually walk the whole thing back in the day?
Probably not all at once. The wall was built over centuries.
Yeah.
Starting way back in the early 1300s.
Mm-hmm.
And it was meant to protect the city from invaders. What's amazing is how well preserved it is today. You walk along those ancient bricks, and you're walking in the footsteps of history. It's like a physical connection to Nanjing's past.
Okay, so we've got bridges, mausoleums, epic walls. Nanjing is definitely killing it in the history department. But what about nature? The article mentioned some pretty amazing natural spots, too.
Oh, yeah, for sure. A trip to Nanjing isn't just about the city itself. You've got these beautiful mountains and serene lakes right there.
Like Purple Mountain, for example. This sounds like a hiker's dream. Lush forests, amazing views, and even historical sites hidden among the trees.
It really is a cool mix. You can hike to the top and get these panoramic views of the city. And then you can explore ancient temples and pagodas hidden in the forests. There's even an observatory up there. It's the perfect example of how Nanjing blends nature, history, and science all together.
Okay, you convinced me. Purple Mountain is officially going on the list. And what about Xuanwu Lake? The article mentioned something about 5 islands.
Yeah, 5 idyllic islands. Picture this. You're in a boat. You're just drifting across this calm lake.
Yeah.
Surrounded by greenery and traditional pavilions. It's like a different world from the busy city.
So it's like a peaceful oasis right in the heart of Nanjing. That sounds amazing after a long day of exploring historical sites. Like the perfect place to just relax and take it all in.
Exactly. And each of those islands has its own unique charm and history. Some have beautiful gardens, some have ancient temples. It's like a mini adventure within a larger adventure.
I am so ready to book this trip, but we've only scratched the surface of what Nanjing has to offer. What about its modern side?
Oh yeah, Nanjing isn't stuck in the past. It's a thriving modern city with great culture, amazing food, and a really cool nightlife.
The article mentioned a few places that sound like must-sees for that modern Nanjing experience. Like the Confucius Temple, it's a peaceful temple complex, but it's also surrounded by this bustling shopping district. Sounds kind of interesting, right?
It's a great example of how Nanjing blends the old and the new. You can walk through these serene temple grounds, and then suddenly you're in the middle of a lively market, checking out shops, sampling street food. It's sensory overload in the best way possible.
Ancient wisdom meets modern-day shopping. I love it. Okay, that's going on the list. What about museums?
You're in luck. Nanjing has one of China's oldest and most prestigious museums, the Nanjing Museum. It has a massive collection, over 400,000 artifacts.
400,000. I'd need a week just to see it all.
You've got everything from ancient bronzes to porcelain, calligraphy, even dinosaur fossils.
Seriously. That sounds incredible. I love that you can see the whole span of Chinese history and culture in one place.
Yeah, it's like a journey through time.
Yeah.
And it's a great way to understand Chinese art, culture, and history, beyond just the things you see in the city.
Okay, speaking of modern vibes, the article also mentioned this place called the Nanjing 1912 district. Apparently, it's the spot for nightlife, trendy bars, cafes, and amazing food.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
If you want to experience Nanjing's modern energy, that's where to go. It's a historic district that's been totally transformed. It's this hub of entertainment and activity. Think cobblestone streets, restored buildings. Now they're cool bars. Live music venues, restaurants, serving everything, from traditional Nanjing food to international stuff.
So I can grab some duck blood soup and then hit a jazz club.
Maybe not in that order.
Yeah.
But you get the idea. Nanjing 1912 is all about that modern pulse, that youthful energy. It's a great place to mingle with locals and get a feel for Nanjing's contemporary culture.
Okay, so we've got historical sites, natural escapes, and modern vibes. That's a lot to pack into one trip. And that's where FlightNHotels comes in, right? I mean, finding the right flights and hotels can make or break a trip, especially to a place like Nanjing with so much to see and do.
Exactly. And remember, they have hotels for all budgets. You can find something that fits your style and your wallet, leaving you more money to spend on experiences in Nanjing.
And who doesn't love a good deal? Plus, booking everything in one place just makes things so much easier. Less stress when planning a big trip is always a win.
It's all about efficiency, making the most of your time and your budget. It's funny, sometimes the best travel moments are the ones you don't plan. Those little detours or like random encounters can really change your whole trip.
Oh, totally. Like you think you're all about the historical stuff, and then you stumble upon this amazing local market, and suddenly you're caught up in the energy, the smells, and your plans completely change.
Exactly. And I feel like Nanjing is one of those places where those unexpected moments are just waiting to happen.
Okay, but back to planning for a sec. The article mentioned that a lot of people walk the city wall.
Yeah.
Is it really worth spending a whole day on that? I mean, it's over 33 kilometers long.
It depends, I guess.
Yeah.
On your pace and how much you want to see. It's not just about the walking, Think of it as a journey through time. You'll get these incredible views of the city. You'll discover hidden corners. And you'll really feel the history beneath your feet.
Ooh, hidden corners, you say. Now you've got me intrigued. It's like the wall itself is a reflection of Nanjing, this blend of history and nature and who knows what else.
Yeah, it's like a living timeline, showing you how the city has evolved over centuries.
Okay, walking the wall is officially on the list. But let's be real, I'm probably not doing all 33 kilometers in one go. Maybe break it up into sections with some strategically planned snack breaks.
Yeah, it's a good plan. And speaking of snacks, Nanjing is known for its amazing food.
Oh, yeah.
Did any culinary highlights stand out in your research?
The article mentioned that the Nanjing 1912 district is a foodie haven with traditional dishes and modern twists, but it didn't go into much detail.
You know what's so cool about Chinese food? It's so diverse. Every region has its own specialties. And Nanjing is no exception.
So no Peking duck in Nanjing, then?
You might find it, but it wouldn't be the main attraction. Nanjing has its own unique flavors and ingredients. Have you ever heard of duck blood soup?
Duck blood soup. Okay, that one might take some courage.
It's a local delicacy.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for something a little less adventurous, Nanjing is also known for its rainflower pebbles.
Rainflower pebbles?
Yeah, these little dumplings filled with minced pork and vegetables. They're named for their colorful appearance.
Rainflower pebbles. That sounds amazing. Definitely adding that to the must-try list.
You'll find that Nanjing's food scene is just as diverse and exciting as the city itself. From street food to fancy restaurants, there's something for everyone.
Okay, so we've got history, nature, modern vibes. And now I'm officially starving. But before we wrap up this deep dive, let's go back to something you mentioned earlier. Those unplanned moments that often end up being the most memorable.
Oh, yeah.
Any tips on how to encourage those kinds of serendipitous encounters?
I think it's all about being open to the unexpected. Don't overschedule yourself. Leave some room for spontaneity.
So ditch the rigid itinerary and just see where the day takes me.
Exactly. Embrace the detours. Talk to locals. Wander down side streets. Those are the moments where you really discover the true spirit of a place.
I love that. Embrace the detours. It's kind of like a metaphor for life, right? Sometimes the best experiences are the ones you didn't plan for.
Totally. And who knows what hidden gems you might find along the way.
I'm starting to see why you're so fascinated by Nanjing. It's not just a destination, it's an invitation. An invitation to explore, to discover, to embrace the unknown.
Exactly. And I have a feeling that whoever's taking this trip is going to have a really amazing experience.
I think so too. Okay, before we send them off on their virtual journey, one last question. If you could give our listener just one piece of advice for making the most of their time in Nanjing, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a tough one. But I'd say connect with the locals. Step outside your comfort zone a bit and engage with the people who make Nanjing so special. Whether it's through language, food, or shared experiences, those interactions can turn a trip from just sightseeing into something truly meaningful.
That is such good advice. It reminds us that travel is about more than checking things off a list. It's about connecting with people, with cultures, with ourselves.
Well said. And I think Nanjing will provide plenty of opportunities for those connections.
Okay, so before we wrap up our Nanjing adventure, I want to leave you with something to think about as you plan your trip.
Oh, I like that. Fire away.
We've talked about how Nanjing blends ancient history and modern life, but I'm curious, what does that actually feel like when you're there? Like, imagine you're walking down a busy street, skyscrapers everywhere, and then you turn a corner and boom, there's this ancient temple, totally peaceful and untouched by time.
That's a really interesting question. It kind of gets to the heart of what makes Nanjing so special. It's not just about seeing those contrasting elements next to each other. It's about the energy they create together.
Exactly. Does that constant push and pull between the past and the present create this sense of harmony or maybe a little tension? I wonder how you'll experience that feeling when you're actually in Nanjing.
I think that's a great question to consider as you explore the city. It encourages you to go beyond the sights and really tap into Nanjing's vibe, its rhythm.
Maybe you'll even come back and tell us all about it. We could do a whole new deep dive on the feeling of Nanjing.
I'd be down for that. It reminds us that learning never really ends. There's always something new to discover, even in a place you think you already know.
So true. Well, that wraps up our deep dive into Nanjing. We hope you've enjoyed the journey and feel inspired to experience this incredible city for yourself.
Safe travels, and until next time, keep exploring.